I'm trumpeter Gabriel Mervine. I got started in music. I do come from a musical family, but I was so shy as a kid. They're all singing and doing show tunes and all this, and I would just sit and listen. But around maybe 3rd or 4th grade, I couldn't decide what to be for Halloween. My mother's a short woman, and she put me in her old marching band uniform. My parents had a bugle on the wall, and so I went door to door in her marching band uniform and played that bugle. To be honest, my dream, I was in love with the drums. I loved rhythm, and I still do. So that was what I really wanted to do, but I think every little kid wants to play the drums. The half of the band program was drummers, little kids, and so I was on the trumpet, and a couple years into it, I just like fell in love with jazz music. It became like so much fun for me to go into band and work on the music, and my first band director was like largely contributive to my studying the music. He was so dedicated and practiced all the time and would always give me new material to work on. And if I stayed after school talking to him and missed the bus, he'd give me a ride home. He was like that, and we kept in touch till he passed a few years back. It was that kind of, those kind of connections sometimes get you inspired. Deciding to go professional wasn't something I really made a conscious decision to do. It was something I always knew. Once I fell in love with music, specifically jazz, but just trumpet and music in general, I knew it was something I wanted to be a part of my life. So I wasn't always able to just be a pro and just do that. There were plenty of times in my young, late teens and early 20s where I had side jobs to make sure the bills were paid, and I just kept working at it. You know, oh, you're just so talented, you know, but a lot of that, I think my talent would be the fact that I like to work at it. I get excited every day to practice, and when I hear a new player or get to hear new concepts and musical and otherwise to work on, I get really excited to work on it. I really enjoy that. I didn't say I'm going pro, I just wanted it to be a part of my life, and I'm extremely fortunate that nowadays it's most of my life. I get to play music for people all the time and do it enough that I can afford to hire musicians and record and have some artistic contribution to the legacy of trumpet or jazz, you know? Oh, it was great. Honestly, this album was the first one I've ever done with no headphones on, just in a room. It was cool, and you know, the circumstances of the last year were largely isolated for everyone, you know, and so there wasn't much rehearsal time. I had talked to Seth, Tom, and Alejandro about what we would be playing, but really, you know, I was trying to find that sweet spot of music that's intricate enough that it's interesting to listen to, but not so complicated. We had to practice it a lot. So I just had these sketches, and then 4 or 5 cover tunes that I wanted to play with them, and the cathartic experience of getting together during that time when pretty much everything was closed was really great. The acoustical setting in that space is also incredible. And not to go too much into the history, but the band I used to tour with is called the Motet. And they were based, when I joined, they were based out of Boulder/Lyons. And the leader of the band, Dave Watts, lived in that house. And we rehearsed in that studio. So I was like texting him, I was like, man, my career's come full circle. I'm right back where I started, like 13 years ago in that same space. Obviously, you guys have put a lot of work into that space now, but it was the same geographic location. It was so cool to be back in there. studio recording DSD, things moved slower in a good way, a little bit more analytical, a little bit more, like, we didn't do any overdubs. Not that I think we could have, but we just played, you know, and to really get the feedback from the fans, the people who listen to my other albums and listen to this one. There's been so many people with so many interesting things to say, and I think about it, especially when I listen to the drums on the recording. They're really easy to hear, like the drum head, the way it sounds with the brushes moving over it, or the piano too. It just sounds so there. But not in the sense that, like, sometimes you listen to modern recordings and you feel like you're there, as in the instrument is right up in your ear or in your face, as opposed to you're hearing it in the space. And I definitely feel that about this record. I don't feel like I'm inside the bell of the trumpet. I'm just there listening to the trumpet, which is ideal, and sometimes I feel like that gets lost on modern recording, whereas like you listen to classic instrumental records and it's like, yeah, you feel like you're in the space, not inside the instrument itself. I'm extremely excited the record's coming out on vinyl. Coincidentally, like just a couple weeks ago, or not even a couple weeks ago, I just received, there's a band called Lettuce, funk group, and a couple of their players are based in Denver. And I like to support, and they were putting out Live in Amsterdam, one of their shows, and I bought it on vinyl. It just showed up and I was listening to it and I was like, man, this is so cool. This is so great to hold, and like the listening experience of vinyl is just different. You put it on, the sides are shorter, you know, so your duration is a little bit cut in half basically, and you put it on and there's just a feeling of the concept of listening to music and passive music. What is this, you know? And listening to vinyl, for some reason you put it on and it's like, I'm not looking at my phone and I'm not out somewhere. It's just, I'm here to listen to the music, and I'm extremely excited to have like one of my own projects presented in that way. Also, this album just feels like I've recorded 4 albums prior, but this one feels like a real jazz record. Like there's a sound with real swing music that just feels good to listen to. When I listen to Chet Baker, when I listen to Bill Evans, whatever, I'm not saying I'm on their level. What I am saying is that there's a relaxation that comes with that music that I feel like it's taken me a long time to reach. For some reason, this record feels that way. And lastly, it was a perfect artistic combination of myself and the woman who did the painting that ended up being the album cover. I had just purchased that from her because it was COVID times when we wanted to support each other, and she posted something, I bought the painting, ended up becoming the album cover. I love it. She was so excited to see how it was put together in the album itself, and I can't wait to see it on the vinyl. And just like everyone coming together to create this album, between PS Audio, Octave Records, Jennifer, the painter, the whole band, it just seemed to just like lock into place really easily.